To install the Super 8-bit pack, you're just going to locate it inside your computer. I've got it right here. I'm going to double click on it, and Live is going to ask me a place where I'd like to save this. I'm going to save it right to my desktop. You may save it wherever you save your Ableton Live projects, because this is where Live is going to look for the samples. This will take just a second. Now that I have my pack unpacked, I want to load it into my browser. So I'm going to click over to my browser, and I'm going to click Add Folder. Now I'm going to navigate to my Super 8-bit project, and the thing we really want here are the 8-bit sounds. So I'm going to open that and add that to my places. And now when I open up in here, I've got all my audio effects, I've got my drum sounds, I've got my MIDI effects, I've got some plain synthesizer, I've got the simpler versions of those in case you don't own sampler, and I've also got the tweaked instruments, which are the more complex evolving stuff. So I'm just going to grab one of these and drop it into a MIDI track here. I've got the bass, ARP, and pad. And I've got macro controls for the different sounds. It sounds like this. Now, what I can do is open this up and see what's going on inside. I have two chains, and I have a rack inside here and a delay. Inside here, there are also some more chains. So these are pretty complex racks. They're racks inside racks. Same thing with this chain, too. There's a lot going on in here. But I've kind of made it convenient so you can just use these macros here. So just by changing these particular knobs, I'm going to let us just hear first the Synthboy side of things. I can decide whether I want it a triangle or a different kind of pulse wave. I can change the octave. I can change the volume. And I can change the panning in the stereo field from left to right. Put it over to the left. Now I'm going to bring in the NES volume, which is more of a pad sound. And with this too, I can change the different timbre by adjusting the waveform control. I can change the octave. And I can also change the pad. And that's pretty much how all of these work. There are tons of different sounds in here. They're all different. They all have their own character. And they can all be altered using these controls into something new. And again, we can go inside of these things and we can play around with the different controls within the racks. So for instance, right now we're just going to listen to this chain, and it's kind of like a bass sound. Suppose I want a higher pitch, I can raise the octave. I can go in here and change the filtering. I can also change the attack of it. I can change the sustain and the decay, so it's a little more of a pluck. Maybe I'll open the filter a little. And I can go inside here and continue to modify this as much as I like. Now I'll bring in my other chain. Now the soft bombs. This has 3 different controls on the front, but if we look inside, we're really dealing with 3 different chains of racks. So for instance, our space bug sounds, which I'll turn up and lower the other sounds. We can play around with the rate of that, the different kind of movement of the arpeggiator. This makes it a chord. You can change the gate on that, the octave range, and we can play around with the filter as well. Inside we've got some bit crushing, some chorus, delay. There's all kinds of stuff you can do here. Let me see some EQ as well. I can bring in some of the other sounds, such as underwater. And we look in here, and again, we can make this sound different too. Maybe raise the pitch of that. Increase the volume. I'll spread these out from left to right. And the Warzone effect, we'll raise the volume of. We've got plenty of control of what these different things sound like. And this is the way it works for all 150 racks. They're all very diverse and changeable. The drums are a lot of fun. We've got all different kinds of drums. We've got claps. And with the claps, we've got some controls like volume. We've got transpose. So you can really change the sound of these different sounds here. You got the filter. And that's how a lot of these work. We've also got the drum selector, which is a pretty cool rack. This rack allows you to take sounds and change them. So for instance, I can change the kick sounds through a different diverse range of kicks, hi-hats, snare drums. So this way you can program a beat and change the patterns however you like. So I got a simple hi-hats and snare pattern with the kick. I'll change the hats. Change our kick drum sound. And it's all with the turn of a knob. Now audio effects are pretty fun. We've got the drum beef, which I think is a cool rack. It's just a one knob deal. You can just turn the knob to add beef, and that's accomplished through a couple different plugins, Ableton devices. I'm going to delete that out, and I'll bring in the drum crunch. These racks can all be used for all different kinds of sounds, not just drums. We got saturation, drive on the saturation, overdrive, we've got compression. So we can really take our drums and change the way they sound pretty drastically. And some of the more melodic type things like our phaso pan might sound pretty cool on the drums. So now we're moving the drums within the stereo field. We've got phaser. Just another cool thing you can do to these sounds. So inside the project we've got a live set with some drum beats. Here you can play around with a whole bunch of different sounds. You can mix and match the different clips. Create your own beats, so you get an idea of what this pack is capable of drum-wise. We've also got the live projects that were used to create the songs that I made for the Super 8-bit EP. All sounds were created using instruments from this project, and you can look and see how they were used to do these songs. Each track is represented here, and this goes for all 7 tracks. It can be a lot of fun to look at just to see how you can put these sounds to use in the real world.